Hello, my name is Georgina from Brindley Investing, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to find the best areas to purchase your buy-to-lets. A lot of people jump straight in to trying to find the property. I would suggest that you first find the area and then you look for the properties. This helps because it means that your search for properties is more focused, which allows you to, prioritize your time into the areas, only looking for houses in the areas where you know you're going to get something that will meet the criteria. We're trying to deselect properties, not select properties, to make sure that we only invest in the very best houses. So I've got 10 steps that we follow in Brindley Investing to make sure that the areas that we select for our buy-to-let properties are the very best. And they're going to enable us to search for the very best buy-to-lets. We want to buy only the properties that are going to make us the best return on investments. So the first rule is, or step one, I should say, step one is to narrow down your areas to only areas within 5 miles of the city centre. The reason for this is we're trying to catch the national average house price growth, which for the last 90 years in the UK has been 7.9%. And being within 5 miles of a city centre is something that's going to help us with that. In terms of cities, it could be a town, but we're looking for areas with at least 80,000 population size. Again, this is part of trying to catch the national average house price growth. And that's important with buy-to-lets because buy-to-lets is a low cash flow strategy. So a lot of the money that we make is actually through the house price going up and then being able to refinance and extract some of that appreciation. The second step is to be really clear on what kind of property you're looking to buy. So for us, for example, that might be a 3-bed terrace house. So we would be looking for areas where we could buy 3-bed terrace houses. In some areas, you might only get detached houses or large 4, 5-bed houses. So that would help us to rule those areas out. This is a deselection process, not a selection process. We want to make sure that we're left with only the best areas. Step 3 is to look at the property price. So we'd jump onto Rightmove and we'd see where within 5 miles of the city centre can I buy my 3-bedroom terrace between 70 and 140,000. Now, the reason that I am saying 70 to 140,000 is because there's a sweet spot, and this is the sweet spot where you'll get the best return on your investment in terms of rent. If the house price goes above and beyond 140,000, then you'll start to see a drop off in the rent relative to the money invested. And these are investment properties, right? So we want our money to work hard for us. We want good rental returns on the money. And that's why I'm suggesting that you look for this property price bracket. Step 4 is to have a look at schools, specifically secondary schools. So I would go into, say, Sheffield, for example, where we're based, and I would have a look at all the secondary schools within Sheffield. I would go through the Ofsted reports and I would look at where we have a rating of either good or outstanding. Every school below that, I would rule out that area. Then I would have a look at what properties or what are within a mile of the school and in catchment. Because catchments are never, ever, ever drawn in a circle. They are normally very odd shapes, and I want to make sure that I'm within a mile of the school and it's in catchment. So basically it's walking distance, right? If the tenants had children and they wanted to go to that secondary school, it's walking distance for the children. They're not going to be looking to relocate to be closer to the school, and they're within catchment of a good school or an outstanding school, so they're not going to be looking to move to get their child better education. And this is all about making sure the house goes up in value, because houses will generally grow well in areas with good or outstanding secondary schools. And it's also about keeping your tenant for the long term, because it costs you roughly £1,500 every time your house becomes vacant for various reasons, and it could be more than that, it could be less than that. So we're trying to keep our buy-to-let properties at 100% occupancy all the time. We want people that are going to stay there for years and years and years and years. Step 5 is we're looking for a house or an area of houses with good public transport. So by that, I mean there should be a regular bus route or a train route into the city centre. Now, generally, if you're within 5 miles of the city centre, you have that, but you just need to double check. I'm also looking for areas with good road network. So the people staying there might work out of town. Can they get to other places easily? Can they get into town by car easily? And by shopping, I mean, is there a corner shop where the tenant can go walking distance, so within a mile, to go and buy milk or bread, for example? And then is there a larger supermarket nearby for them to do their weekly shop? And again, we're trying to hold the tenants there for as long as possible, not give them a reason to move. We're also trying to make sure that the property will do well in terms of growth. Okay, so step 6 is we would then have a look at, okay, we've got an area, we think it looks good, it's 5 miles from the city centre, it's the right property type for us and the right price bracket, we've got good and outstanding schools, got good public transport, road network and shopping. What rent can we expect to get if we purchase a property in this area? So there's 2 ways that I get my estimated rental income. The first is I would call up 3 letting agents in the area and I'd say, I'm looking to purchase a 3-bed, 1-bathroom, terrace house in this area. What, if I used you letting agents, would you put that on as to rent out? Or what properties have you currently got rented in the area and how much are they renting for? The second way I'd check my rental income is I'd jump onto Rightmove and I'd have a look at what properties are renting for in the area that are similar. Step 7 is now I've got my rental income, I want to check that the property will cash flow positively and that even if the property is vacant for 1 month a year, it still gives me an overall positive cash flow. Now, this is a little bit complicated, how I check this, so I'm going to do a separate video specifically on how to check the cash flow. Okay. Once you check the cash flow, you'd move on to step 8, which is demand. So let's say I have £100,000 3-bed terrace, and it meets step 1 to 7. I would then post this online. My go-to is Gumtree. So I create a post on Gumtree saying I've got a 3-bedroom terrace for sale. I would use the rent that I would be expecting to get. So I don't know, maybe say £850. And I would make sure that I have 10 responses within a week. Now, the areas that we're looking at, because we only use the best areas, right? If I posted that demand check, I'd normally get 10 easily within an hour. But what you're basically doing here is you're making sure that there's demand in that area for your property. Demand drives the rental price to some extent. And also demand, if there's good demand, you can select the tenants, right? Say 10 people want to rent your property, you get to choose your tenants and you get to know that if they leave, there are other people that are willing and wanting to take your property. If you have a situation where there's no demand and only one tenant wants to rent your property, you're stuck with the tenant. And they might not be the tenant that you're looking for. And so it's always good to check demand to make sure that you get to select the tenant and that if the property becomes vacant, it can be re-rented. And it's a good indication that rental prices will remain strong. And what I do, by the way, is if the tenant, if the advert gets lots of responses, I'll respond to them and just say, like, I'm really sorry that one it's not available right now. If I am looking to buy in the area, like, don't lead people on, right? You always need to be honest and considerate of others. But if I am looking to purchase a property in that area and have it up and running within a couple of months, I might just say, I'm looking to have another property up and running here in 3-4 months' time. I don't know what your situation is, whether you need to move soon, but is this something you might be interested in? If so, do you mind if I contact you in the future? Okay. And then step 9 is checking the sold prices, because now you've got your area. If it meets all the criteria, obviously. If it meets all the criteria, you've got an area you think looks good, you want to check what houses have been purchased for. Now, the sold price is very different from the for sale price. Okay. So properties will go on average for less, generally about 7% less. It depends on the market. So that can be up or down, but they'll be purchased for less than what they're advertised for. So on Rightmove, there's a section where you can look at purchase price and go through and check the properties and see what they've been sold for. And then step 10 would be to work out what your offer price is. So once you've checked what the properties have been sold for and removed any outliers, so anything that's above or below £10,000, for example, would be ruled out. So what you're ideally wanting is a list of 8 properties at the end within half a mile of your area that are all like for like, all within 10,000 of each other. And that gives you really good confidence then that actually, a 3-bed terrace house is definitely selling for 90,000 because I've got 8 3-bed terraces within half a mile of where I'm looking, and they've all sold for, say, 85 to 95,000. So I've got real confidence that about 90,000 is what I should be buying that house for. So once you've got that, then you work out your offer price. Okay. And your offer price, it's a personal decision based on what sort of discount you're looking to get. And you might say, you know what, I'm happy to pay the going rate. I don't want any discount. And that's fine. I think that we've got a separate video on the 4 profit levers and the importance of discount. But it's up to you. And some people will say, I'm happy with a 5% discount. Others will say, I'm not purchasing anything for below 15%. So it's up to you, right, to work out what discount you want. And then to work out from the sold price, you apply the discount that you're looking for, and then that's your offer price. And then you need to also learn how to position that offer so that there's a chance that it will get accepted. When you're negotiating houses at discount, you're not going to get every house right, because some people will want the market value. And there are some markets where it's more competitive than others. But if you put in, say, 20 offers, for example, on houses that all meet these rules, and then one gets accepted, that might be a ratio that you're happy with in order to get a higher discount. So that's a personal decision. I hope this video was useful on how to find the very best areas to buy your buy-to-lets. Thank you. Bye.